Mi gente, hello, bienvenidos a otro episodio, another episode of Hoy en Día TV. Wow, what a beautiful day. It is getting warm by me. Hopefully, it's getting warm by you, because I don't know about y'all, but I got sick of the cold. Ya me cansé del frío, pero gracias a Dios, we are good with a nice and warm and toasty weather. So we have an amazing show, and I'm really excited for the guest that we have on today. We're going to be talking about autism awareness, but we're going to be hearing it firsthand from a amazing individual. His name is Kadin McElwain. And I also learned something new, that there's a proper or different terminology to identify an individual who has autism called neurodivergent, which, hey, we're learning each and every day. I'm going to go on and bring my guest, Manny and Tim. Welcome to the stage. Bienvenidos.
Bendiciones todo el mundo. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How's
You know how we say it in the hood, what's happening?
yeah, what's happening? It's good.
And that, the lady said it on that song, Savage. What's happening?
Right.
In Puerto Rico, we
Yeah.
say, dice, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué te pasa?
Right.
Que pasa? Yeah, I know a little
What's
Paquita.
the other word? Que lo que hay. Que lo que hay.
Lo que hay, yeah,
Doing well, doing well. Good to see y'all. Good to
What's up,
see
man?
you.
Same here. How y'all week been? Like how y'all been up? What's up?
Man.
What y'all been
Drinking
up
from
to?
a fire hose.
It's hot out
Hey,
there?
I don't know how you do it, man.
Bro, it's hitting like almost 100 every day, bro. Like, and I wear a sweatshirt at work. Like, people be thinking I'm crazy. Like, why are you wearing a sweatshirt? I'm like,
Right.
because the
Why are
more
you
you
wearing a
sweat,
sweatshirt?
because the more you sweat, the breeze that is actually kicking it cools you down. That's
Yeah.
that's why people in India, they wear all those clothes because
Layers.
yeah, exactly.
Pero tú no te piscina, you don't suffocate.
No.
Huh?
But you be on in the morning when I jump on like social media, you already
Hey,
active,
look,
right? You
bro,
get
I get
down.
up at 4 o'clock in the morning, make my breakfast, drive to work. I don't eat before I eat at work, right? I get to the break room, and that's when I open my emails, I open social media, and that's when I do my posts while I'm at work. And then I'll eat my breakfast, and then when everybody else wakes up, they start, messing up with stuff.
Right,
I know
right.
somebody else like that. You know who's like that? Ra One. Shout out to Ra One.
So,
He is
Rob,
Hold on,
dedicated.
Ra.
He's dedicated like you. He wakes up bright and early, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I'm like, woo.
trust me, I don't want to, but the bills be like, yo, you need to wake up, bro.
Well, it's just like it seems like it's just not enough hours in the day because I work full time too, and
Yeah,
trying to do things, with managing my responsibilities at my work that
right.
pays the bills, and then what I'm doing on the outside of that, I'm trying to keep everything in order, and then maintaining my personal life. I'm really excited about the show tonight because
Yes.
it's going to
I'm
be a very learning experience for me. I have very little knowledge of
right.
autism, and so I'm really excited that this show, man.
Right.
Boy, I love this show, man.
I love
Exactly.
this show too.
Like
Yes.
I'm the same way. Like I don't have a lot of knowledge. Like I have a coworker that has an autistic son,
Mhm.
and um, in my ignorance, I just thought all autistic kids were the same. Like he said, he can't leave him alone. He has to take care of him, and then just um, speaking with our guest backstage, I was like, wow, like it's levels to it, and that's awesome because that gives them the opportunity to actually live a normal life. Well, what's normal to them, but they could actually function, and that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And this fits in perfectly. All of our episodes fit in
Right,
perfectly with the mission statement for Hoy en Dia, because we aim to positively
right,
motivate,
right.
enlighten, educate, inspire, and entertain the viewers with each episode, fostering that personal growth and development, because we want to help you all see things from a different perspective. It's not always
Exactly.
about the negative, they are positive to what you think is negative.
And like there's could be a viewer that is dealing with somebody or in the future will deal with somebody and be like, oh, I seen that episode, so I know a little bit, so you don't know who to
and,
touch.
and guess what that does?
What?
Guess guess what cancels fear?
What?
I'm sorry. Repeat that. Repeat that, Tim. It cut off on my end.
Guess what cancels fear?
I don't know. Tell me. I get it.
Knowledge. So now, because of our show, viewers can get an opportunity to hear firsthand. Now I have some knowledge. Now, when I see
Right.
someone,
Right.
right, I don't have to feel afraid, right? Because I have a little bit of knowledge. So
Right.
knowledge cancels fear. Can you dig it?
Yes.
Absolutely. And we also learned a new terminology, neurodivergent. I
Yes,
didn't
I
know
can't even
that.
say
Right.
that.
Right.
And so I looked it up. I Googled it, and it says a neurodivergent person refers to a person on the autism spectrum, or more generally, someone whose brain processes information in a different way,
Right.
which is
Wow.
completely understandable.
Makes
Mhm.
sense. Makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I went in autismspeaks.org and I did some research to see, just for the viewers to get some fun facts and
In
stats
fact,
because
right.
this impacts everybody worldwide, right? Many families are either have a loved one who may have been diagnosed with neurodivergency, or they know someone like you, Manny. I know someone who has been
Right.
diagnosed with neurodivergency. So if you really look at it, we know of someone or have someone close to us that may have been diagnosed with neurodivergency. And so with that, it says 1 in 36 children in the US have autism, up to the previous rate, which is up from the previous rate of 1 in 44.
Right.
1 in 45 adults in the US have been diagnosed with autism.
Wow.
In the US, about 4 in 100 boys and 1 in 100 girls have autism. Boys are nearly 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism than girls. And it shows here the autism prevalence is lower among white children than other racial or ethnic groups. And so it shows a percentage within the white community 2.4%, the black community 2.9%, Hispanic community 3.2%, Asian or Pacific Islander 3.3%. So listening to those stats, what do y'all think about that?
It's
Right.
you know it well it's increasing. I
Right.
mean, the number of people who have you know this this is it a medical condition? What did you call it? Is it a disease? W- is it just, what do we call it? I don't know, but more people are having it
Right.
today. We were talking backstage, and I said I remember the first time I ever heard of it was a movie Dustin Hoffman did called Rain Man,
Right.
and that was my first visual of someone with autism. I had never seen that before, but it's growing.
It
Don't know
is.
what causes it. What I
I,
mean,
I
it
think
just
it a lot of it has to do with um, what the mother intakes, I believe, into their body, whether it be drugs or alcohol or the steroids they put in the food. Like that's why a lot of people are getting cancer. That's how I got cancer when I was 26. I was 26 years old, and I had
wow.
right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow,
Wow. Hey,
wow,
Dottie.
Yeah.
wow.
But it
So with
was. Yeah. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. So
No,
I
you're
was
good.
going to say neurodivergency. So pretty much it describes a person whose brain thinks differently or
Right.
processes information differently. They do have different strengths and challenges from those whose brain don't have those types of differences.
Okay.
And so to answer your question in reading that, Tim, it sounds like it's just a diagnosis to classify someone in a certain way,
Right.
but in actuality, we all have different ways of thinking. Like I
Uh-huh.
shared in different past episodes, we all think differently. We all process information differently. So in a way, it kind of is like it makes me think like I get that's not the average norm, but
Mm.
so what? Not if we're different. Each and
What
every
is
one of us.
what is norm? Right.
Right.
What is that?
Right. I think it's like they see things through a different window. You know what I'm saying? Like we see things as um, normal people see things, but they see it um, different. Like it's just a different window. I guess
Right.
that's just what's going through my mind. You know,
Well, we're going to actually hear firsthand from an individual
I
who
can't
has
wait.
been diagnosed with neurodivergency. And I'm going to share that this individual is an autistic college student, writer, and activist. Kadin Ronald is dedicated to shifting societal perceptions of autism and neurodivergency. Despite being repeatedly underestimated, He has continuously defied those expectations. And he recently made history as the inaugural autistic figure in Portage County to be honored with a proclamation for Autism Awareness Day.
That is
His
awesome.
yes, overachieving goal is to foster positivity and understanding on autism throughout the world. So, without further ado, we're going to bring Kadin McElwain on. Thank you
What
so
up,
much.
Kaden?
Thanks
What's
for
going
having me.
on? What's
What's
going
I
up,
on?
will
brother?
say, Yessie, it's
Bienvenido,
Kadin
bienvenido.
McElwain, but that's cool. It's a hard name to say.
How do you say your last name?
McElwain. Trust me, people have gotten the last name wrong all the
Right.
time. Most recent one
Okay.
was McLean.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like what you just said, for real.
Okay, I
Welcome.
appreciate that.
So how was your week, Kaden?
It's going pretty well. Well, I've been trying to find some more summer work for me to do now that I'm out of school. Hey, Mito, what's up? Uh, but overall, I'd say it's going well. My summer's going well.
Good, good. That's
Well, welcome
awesome.
to the show. We're glad to have
Yeah,
you
welcome
here.
to the show.
I'm glad to be
Definitely
here.
excited for this one.
Yeah,
I'm
we
excited
were
for this one too.
we were talking, and I, you know, I honestly don't know a lot about autism, and so
Right.
this is going to be a really strong learning show for me because
Hmm.
I do want to understand. You know, I've lived with stigmas. I
Right.
know how what it feels like to be alienated from
Right.
my perspective,
Hmm.
right? So I want to learn, what are the similarities? I'm listening for the similarities versus
Hmm.
the differences. So I'm excited, man, to hear your story.
Right.
Thank you,
Most
Tim.
definitely. Most definitely. It's like we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day lives that we don't really understand and know that there are people out here that have this, and
Hmm.
there are families out here that have to deal with it. So their lives are completely different than ours. And it's
Right.
like once you wrap your brain around that, it's like, wow, I'm living my life over here, but they're over there, um, like trying to get some type of, normalcy to their lives, get a schedule, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot to deal with, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kaden, tell us a little bit about you and the viewers. Who is Kaden? What was your upbringing like and your experiences, especially dealing with the diagnosis of neurodivergency?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, Yessie, I'm an autistic college student, writer, and activist, and pretty much I'm on a mission to raise as much awareness about autism as possible in today's divided society, because I think that's a cause not taken seriously enough, and I'm really confused about it. I really am. You think by now Congress would pass a law protecting those with autism from being the victims of crimes, from having to pay for health care, from bullying in schools, from having special education services hung on a thread. But nope, they don't. As y'all saw, they focus on petty stuff such as TikTok bans and Draxo bans. And society is so distracted with various things. The recent one being the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. They
Hmm.
don't focus on the bigger picture these
Right.
days. They
Exactly.
really don't.
Exactly.
But my upbringing was really well. The autism did make it a bit complicated. I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old, coincidentally, after I got the smallpox vaccination. Of course, I didn't get it from that. It was most likely genetics.
Hmm.
But I always find it funny because I know that conspiracy theory is still floating around in today's society, and it's putting a lot of people in danger. Uh, Elementary school, that went well. Thank you, Audie. I'm glad you liked the mission. Elementary school went smoothly for me, friend wise and service wise. I had amazing services, occupational therapy, physical therapy, all this stuff, and I was quite frankly very popular. In fact, when I moved on from middle school, my entire class pitched in to give me a going away gift. But middle school and high school, as typical with most people, that was a nightmare of
Hmm.
Hmm.
bullying. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
I mean, I know some people hate high school, and they have nightmare stories of that. Like you can pay them $100 to go back to high school. I'm sure y'all have those experiences, but add neurodivergency and autism to it, it made it 10 times worse. And even worse, my middle school actually cut off my IEP services without my parents' knowledge or consent, which is actually illegal. I looked it up once and I asked someone who was a teacher so I was on earlier this year, and I love my parents for this. They went to the school and asked them why they did that. The school said they couldn't tell I had autism. I was doing well academically, doing well behaviorally. Therefore, there was no justifiable reason to have IEP services.
Wow.
And that I should be put in a robotics camp due to my intelligence. I mean, I appreciated the intelligence comment. Back then, I was doing really well in middle school, better than most of my classmates. But the thing is, they were ignorant back then, the middle school. Well, of course, you're not going to tell if someone has autism unless they're really, really low functioning. High functioning mainly deals with social stuff. But anyways, I love my parents for this. They wrote to every single autism organization in the state of Tennessee and a state senator in order to get this situation squared away because they knew that those services were needed for my success. So I had them in high school. Then COVID hit. Everything changed for me. I had to do school online. At first, I despised it since I liked the routine of waking up in the morning, brushing my teeth, going on the bus, going to school, coming home, which a lot of people with autism do. They love their routines, and if it's thrown off, they get upset. But after a while, I learned to love online school because I realized I could concentrate better online. While math has always been a kryptonite for me, an Achilles heel subject for me, I stink at math. I still do. In fact, I'm supposed to be taking a math course in my junior year of college, so later this year, and I'm honestly worried about it. It's math concepts, but the problem is you actually have to do math. But it's basic stuff like learning how to serifere and making your graphs, so I feel a little confident in it, but I digress. Thanks to COVID, which was a blessing, honestly, I was able to graduate from high school early with honors, all A's and B's.
Nice.
You. Then
That's
I moved on
awesome.
to college, and that's where my advocacy work started. It started with a class project I did for a leadership class. The assignment was to simply think of a way to help the community and act upon it. So my group and I set up a GoFundMe for Autism Society of America, and we actually raised over $1,000 for that organization, and we won a contest for it. Thank you, Dottie. I appreciate that. See, that's what I love about live streams. You get to interact with the audience. But back to the topic. Unfortunately, as typical with the TikTok generation, my group didn't really take it seriously enough. They only wanted to do the assignment to get the grade and the prize money we got, which was $300 to use towards the school cafe. But in a way, it was a blessing for me because it showed how passionate I was about getting this project done. But looking back at it, I wish my group pitched in a little bit more on the promotion side of things because I did all the promoting. I set up the GoFundMe. I set up most of the PowerPoint presentation we had to present to the class. All they did was set up the poster, which takes 50 minutes, but you expect that from Generation Z. So based on those experiences and that, I thought, if no one else is going to take this cause seriously, I might as well be it. So that project led to a movement I started to raise awareness about autism and hopefully get more rights and clear the stigma surrounding people who are neurodivergent and autistic.
I have a question, Kadin. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's all.
I went through the disease of addiction, right? And for the longest, I denied it. And then I got to a point and I said, why me? Why did this happen to me? did you ever feel like, because it looks like you well past it now. Like I have accepted what it is, and I've done the same thing, to try to help other people who deal with the same dilemma. But do you remember ever thinking like, why me? And if so, how did you get past it?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely had a hard time embracing this gift I have because
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what it was. I was ignorant and young back
Mhm.
then, so I quite frankly didn't know anything really. But I would say my parents have been a big supporter of me and urged me to embrace my gift, to use it to my advantage. Because having high functioning autism is actually really amazing. I just need a little bit of help with the social stuff, and that's about it. To a bunch of amazing people have been on the spectrum. From Albert Einstein, he was on the spectrum. Newton was on the spectrum. Dan Aykroyd from Ghostbusters, he was on the spectrum. Yeah, Elon Musk, first autistic modern SNL host, and one of the most powerful tech entrepreneurs in the world. All these people did amazing things while having autism, no matter what their naysayers said.
Mhm.
So, well, the more I learn about it, the more I'm learning to embrace autism. And I've actually been recently using it to my advantage. There's still some things I got to work on, but I'm still working on it. It's all a journey. It
Right.
truly is.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That
that's
is,
called, what I hear is acceptance. You've
Right.
accepted,
Right.
you know, what your assignment is. You call it a gift. That was very
Yeah.
interesting.
yes,
Right.
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kaden, from your experience and the viewers and those that are watching that may have a loved one or they know someone that has been diagnosed with, the spectrum of neurodivergency, hearing it firsthand from you, what are some of the tools and tips that you would share with the parents of an individual who has been diagnosed with autism? How can they help them or better understand them? Let's say from an early age, if you remember, because I know you mentioned that you were diagnosed at age 2. But what are some of the tools and tricks that you would share to better uh, interact or understand that individual, that loved one that has been diagnosed with autism?
Hmm. I would say go out and learn. Go volunteer at an autism center, or go to a special education class and learn. Do anything and everything you can to learn, because at the end of the day, it'll benefit you and your child. And early diagnosis is definitely key. I consider myself lucky. I had the luxury of early diagnosis. Most importantly, be an advocate for your child. My parents were an advocate for me and are still in my corner, even when I don't deserve it at times. And I'm appreciative of them. Look at me now. I'm extremely successful, going on platforms to spread my message, going to college, doing all this cool stuff. And your child can too. They just need an advocate, and only that. And if people doubt you, don't give them the time of day. Cut them off. Cuss them out. Because they're the ones who are going to be missing out on an amazing person.
Most
Right.
definitely.
Manny or Tim, do you have any questions for Kaden? I don't want to hog up all the questions like I usually do.
Not questions, just
I do.
like
I want to ask you, like, and we were kind of having this conversation. You mentioned the word spectrum. So there seems to be different levels or different capabilities with different on the spectrum. And you were talking a little bit about that in our pre-show. Could you talk about that again? Like you have
yeah,
certain
I think so.
capabilities that somebody else with autism may not have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Good
pretty
question.
much. I believe anyone and everyone is capable of living a normal life. We just need help. But with autism, it gets even more complicated because where I'm at is the higher end of the spectrum, which is where people like Elon Musk, Einstein, and Newton are at, where they're extremely intelligent, but they're socially awkward and
Mm-hmm.
misunderstand social cues at times. times. In fact, Newton liked his routine so much he actually taught empty rooms if classes didn't show up that day. He would
Wow.
still
Really?
teach just to keep up with that routine.
Right.
So, well, there's that where you're extremely intelligent, but people might not understand certain things about you. But there's also the lower end of the spectrum where you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't take care of yourself. Like we talked about during the pre-so many, you sometimes act violent and fool around and smash things, and you have to be taken care of the rest of your life. And it's sad to see. In fact, one of my hopes for the future is to find a way to make those who are on the lower end of the spectrum on the higher end. I
Right.
think with today's technology, we have that capability. We just aren't investing enough money into it.
Right.
And so I
Gotcha.
think more research is definitely key on that end.
Gotcha. Um,
Absolutely.
so what? Tell us, like, what is a day like for you? You know, my routine is kind of the same, right? I get up and shower and brush my teeth and get some coffee. You know, read Manny's messages and Yes's messages,
Well, you're the
old
old guy.
messages,
You're the
and
old
then
guy.
I,
You gotta,
you know, I get started
gotta
with work, and I eat lunch. You know, what is a day like for you?
Pretty much the same as that, except I shower and be eaten. And then so I get up, brush my teeth, put on deodorant, grab a cup of coffee and something small, all for breakfast or whatever. I get to work. Thank you for seeing. I'm glad you're learning something from this. And if there's a podcast or a platform I got to appear on to spread my message, I do that. And I'm mainly networking because I'm majoring in PR right now,
okay.
public relations. So the key is to network, promote yourself, put yourself out there, and have a good image or brand, if you will.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So how did you get out of that? I mean, I know you're still kind of socially awkward, but how did you overcome that and be able to network with people? Because I know, a lot of autistic people are afraid to
They kind of
talk to people. They shy away. So how did you overcome that?
I would say same thing. My parents have been big advocates for me, and I kind of taught myself to put myself out
Right.
there. As in PR, you have to talk with a lot of different people.
Right.
You have to go to a meeting, possibly, to talk with your company. You have to do such and such thing. You have to go to another country in the world if you're working in
Right.
the international
Hmm.
division. You got to make sure you respect the customs. So, I think me doing public relations as a major in college, plus my parents, plus my overall desire for positive change in the autism community, drove me to start doing stuff like this.
Okay. That's what's up. I like that.
I
I
have two
like the fact
questions.
that Yeah, I like the fact that you were able to break that barrier of social awkwardness and
Mhm.
set your mind to actually want to be a part of society. That's awesome. It shows that um, y'all can evolve. Y'all aren't, some people are ignorant and just think that y'all have to be taken care of or y'all have an issue, but you're breaking barriers. Like that's really awesome. I think it's really awesome that you're what we call it is being comfortable in uncomfortability. And that's really
Mhm.
what you're doing because I know it's uncomfortable for y'all to be social, but you're breaking that barrier, man. Like I hope, people are watching you and they get inspired by you. Like that's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right,
That
go
is
ahead, Jesse. I know you got two questions. They burning. I could see the smoke.
yeah, they are. Yeah.
Smoke.
So PR, why out of all the majors, PR? Is there something that really, attracted you to that major?
Hmm. I would say mainly because I want to work in the music industry or the politics industry eventually once I get done with college.
That's
But of course, in order to be a performer or a politician, you have to either know some powerful people or you have to be on the level of Juilliard, Berkeley, or any of the big music schools. Like you have to be Mozart levels, Prodigy levels. So, you can't really make it as a performer unless you're really, really, really good. Good. I do music a lot for fun. And I'd say I'm improving, but not at the level to be the next Guns N' Roses or what you call it, Nile Rodgers. So PR seemed like the next best thing for me. Doing the business side of things, you
Right.
still get to be creative, still get to do all kinds of cool stuff. The one alumni at my university, thank you, Nina. I'm glad you're inspired. You're one alumni at my university actually works for state senator, I believe. Pete, what was his name? Pete Boot something. And no, uh, but you still get to do all kinds of cool stuff. It's just on the business side of things.
Mhm.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
Okay. Growing up, because I hear you mention your parents a lot, and I can tell that you really love and respect them because of how they helped shape or mold who
Right.
you are today.
Shout out to your
What?
parents, man. Shout out to your
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah,
Like, they're
absolutely. Shout
definitely,
out.
they're
And can
definitely,
you tell them if they want to come on the show? Because I would love to hear from their
yes,
perspective.
actually,
Welcome to come on Oyandia TV so we can hear it from their
yeah,
side as well. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe me in a month or so or two, I can ask them to do a follow up with me,
definitely.
and you
A
can
part
get
two. We definitely
my
love to do a part
perspective.
two with y'all. Of
Yeah.
course.
Absolutely, absolutely. But what words or what actions did you see growing up that really helped shape or mold the mindset that you have today from your parents? Like, were there specific words, were there specific actions, activities that they did with you that really helped you embrace and grow into the person that you are today?
I would say I get my work ethic from my parents. They taught me not to be. Thank you, Dottie. They taught me not to be lazy and to not take no for an answer.
Good.
Because I come from a really stubborn family, so I think that's part of my work ethic. I don't take no for an answer, and I don't give up until I get what I want. Right now, I'm trying to apply for Medicaid, and unfortunately, there's hoops you got to jump through. In college, I had a roommate, and I might get accommodations for a single room this year for my junior year because the roommate was terrible. But you gotta jump through hoops for
Right.
that. You gotta provide the proof. And this is the stubbornness speaking in me, but it's my opinion that once you're diagnosed as being autism, ADHD, neurodivergent, you should never be questioned about that again.
Right.
It should just be universally accepted. You shouldn't have to provide proof. There shouldn't be hoops for you to jump through
Right.
anymore, but for some reason it is. And I think the fact that my parents advocated to have those hoops removed taught me to have a good work ethic, to not be lazy, and uh, just this week, I messed up the lawnmower. One of the old lawnmowers I accidentally used my dad's oil he uses for his old lawnmower. He forced me to leave a old lady I was gonna mow the lawn for or hanging, but that was so I could learn a lesson to be considerate, or else karma will catch up with
Right.
you. And that I needed to be called out on my crap sometimes. So I think thanks to that, I'm a hardworking individual. Well, and I don't have the Gen Z mindset of laziness, TikTok, and acting like an animal on a college campus.
Hey, good.
Wow. That's
I'm glad
amazing.
that your parents didn't treat you different. Like, I just appreciate them even more, treating you like a normal person, and knowing that you have this autism, and knowing that you needed special care as growing up, but they still treated you like a normal person. Like,
Yep.
I applaud them for that. Like, that's made you who you are. Like, it made you stronger than, you know, normal if you wouldn't have had that support. Like that's awesome.
You know,
You
the
want to be
courage that I hear in your voice.
yes.
You could, I'm sure it happens to a lot of people, not just with autism, with any kind of ism, right? um, Once they had that diagnosis, oh, I'm done. That's it. I'm over. Poor me, poor me, poor me, right?
Right. Right.
And and
Yeah,
and
I don't
here
hear that.
you are,
Right.
like
I
you
don't hear that.
fighting, and you mentioned, man, what you doing about Nile Rodgers, man? Good time. What y'all know Nile Rodgers?
No, not at all.
Man, he was one of the most famous bass players. He started the disco era. You ever heard the song
Oh,
"Good Time"?
yeah.
That was Nile Rodgers. So
That's
I'm
Wow.
pretty impressed with. So do you play bass?
I play guitar, drums, and I sing, and I do a
Wow,
little bit of bass.
a little
Okay.
bit of bass.
Okay.
that's
That
Wow,
awesome. Yes.
I can't play none
is
of
awesome.
You're funny too. Well, fun fact about me, Katie, you mentioned Juilliard. I had the opportunity to go to Juilliard to sing opera. Um,
Really?
I did, yeah. In
wow.
high school, I studied opera. So when you mentioned Juilliard, I got excited. I was like, ooh, okay, Juilliard.
Oh man, I didn't know that. You're just well rounded, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Any what's your favorite genre?
Mm, it's hard for me to choose, honestly, but I'm really into SoundCloud rap, like Post Malone, Lil Peep, Juice World, all those.
Okay.
Mainly genre blending stuff.
Really?
Okay.
Wow,
Cool.
that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
What
Uh,
is your favorite genre of novels? Because I'm an author, so that's my number one passion is literacy. It's interesting to
I
know
will
what people
say,
like.
I'll say I don't really have a favorite genre, but I have a favorite book. Catch and
Okay.
Ride by J.D. Salinger. I've read it
That's cool.
7 times. First time being in high school,
Uh-huh.
and it's definitely fitting for today's society.
All right.
what's the name of it again, Caden?
Captain on the Ride.
Catch and Ride by J.D. Salinger.
Gotcha. Thank you.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
Kaden, have you ever had an opportunity to speak to other individuals that have been diagnosed with neurodivergency?
Not well. I've been on some podcasts hosted by those who are neurodivergent. One podcast I was on was called Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez. He's on the spectrum,
Okay.
and I've talked with a couple of hosts about possibly appearing on their shows. One guy being Sam Mitchell, who's really popular right now. He has a podcast called Autism Rocks and Rolls. So he's done all this cool stuff. He was a TEDx speaker. He interviewed people like Temple Grandin, who was Mick Foley, the wrestler, people who are on American Idol. No, he did all this cool stuff. He's went to Toronto, Canada for a speech, and he's honestly a true inspiration to me. Jimmy St. Clair, he has a podcast called Crazy Fitness Guy that I'm going to be appearing on in August. So
Awesome.
stay tuned for that. And I had the opportunity to interview Temple Grandin, who's also an autism advocate and an animal scientist for a class
Wow.
project, a podcast project for or my Maestro and the Web class this past semester. So that was an honor. So what was her last name? Michelle V. Since I can't pronounce her last name, she has a blog called AB, something Full Spectrum ABA that I had the opportunity to interview for, or had I got an article written about me on that. So honestly, the more I'm learning about autism, the more I'm learning to interact with people with autism.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was asking that question is because there are viewers right now that, again, like I mentioned earlier, may have a loved one who has neurodivergent. What words would you tell that person that just found out that they are neurodivergent? what words of encouragement would you share with them based on your experience to help them feel better about who they are?
I would say keep being positive, embrace who you are. Thank you, Dottie. I deeply appreciate that. And if people doubt your capabilities or question you, don't give them the time of day. Because, like I said, they're the ones who are going to be missing out on an amazing person or employee or boyfriend or girlfriend or they them partner, since I don't know what we're supposed to call that nowadays. And I
Yeah, me
will
neither.
also
You're
say,
not by yourself.
yeah, yeah, hopefully there's a term for that. But
Right.
I'll also say, if I were the schools and workplaces, I would mandate autism training or special education training across all spectrums for any student, potential employee, potential faculty member, or even parent before they're even allowed in the school or in the workplace. Parents especially, because I honestly believe everything starts at the home. If parents worship people like Harrison Burke for purpose of relevance, see that football player who went off on a misogynistic rant during a commencement speech in front of thousands of college students, or Andrew Tate or Alex Jones or any of those people, then of course the child's going to be negative and take their anger out on those who they think are below them.
Wow, thank you for those positive words. Absolutely. That's very, very helpful.
Kaden, do you drive?
Mm, No, I'm working on it, but I'm honestly nervous to drive, especially with road conditions
Yeah.
these days. In
These
Ohio, people drive
horribly.
crazy.
Horrible.
It's not necessarily the highways or the neighborhood streets. Those I think I could handle. It's
Mhm.
mainly the freeways and
Right.
those
Yeah.
route interstate things I worry about. But I'm hoping to start driving once I'm out of college, have money, and potentially have enough money to afford a car.
Hmm. Well,
Okay.
you're doing an amazing work, and
Yes.
I can't say enough about you know you know being encouraged. I
Mhm.
that's how I live my life, is to encourage people. But you have encouraged me tonight, right?
Definitely.
You-
Definitely.
And what you've done is you've taken away any excuse that I could ever come up with.
All right.
I have no excuse to not accomplish anything that I choose to put my hand to, right?
Exactly.
Um, you just destroyed that for our viewers. I mean, really,
Right.
you've
Right.
taken that
Right.
away.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thank you
just
guys.
along those lines, Kaden, remind the people, the viewers, because we're getting in and out viewers, which is great. People are jumping on and off. Where do you get that drive and passion from? Like you decided one day to wake up and say, I'm going to be different. What keeps you going? How did you get that mindset? For those that are just joining now.
I got my work ethic from my parents and the lessons they've taught me during my 19, almost 20 years on this earth, and I just believe in the cause. I truly do.
That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like you're an inspiration to all those that actually have autism and feel like they are stuck. And you're showing them that you can be a normal person. Because like I would hang out with you, bro. Like seriously. Like I'm glad I met you now because when you get like super famous, I'm gonna be like, yo, I know that guy right there.
And I'm coming with him.
Thank you, sir.
We're
Yeah,
coming to your stage.
yeah, definitely. So you said that um, they need to do more research on trying to make the lower spectrum autistic, um, transition to higher. What do you feel like needs to be done? Like whether it be medication or like what like I know you have like some ideas where like what would make them be able to function more.
I would say, like you said, if there was a pill that can somehow alter the gene and make it into higher function, then or somehow how Congress invested more money into programs that help people learn how to walk, learn how to talk, that kind of thing, and maybe we'd have a lot of more higher functioning people with autism in society, and people can actually live up to their full potential. But
Right.
the problem is, especially these days, certain people, as I said, put hoops to jump through, put obstacles in people's way, and sabotages people to make it harder for people, apart from the rich Fortune 500 CEOs living in mansions, drinking Pellegrino and relaxing in their hot tub, watching the chaos unfold.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite restaurant?
I'm a huge foodie, so I would say any of them. I've tried every one since I've been in Ohio.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think my favorite is going to be between Outback and what is it? Cracker Barrel. Yeah, those are my two go-tos, man.
I like small businesses, man. There's a Puerto Rican spot around here that she serves amazing food, and she's just an amazing person. It's
Yeah.
called Flavor Rican. When y'all come down here, we're definitely gonna check them out. Well, I'm actually trying to get her on the show, so
Okay,
stay tuned for that.
gotcha.
But it's amazing food, bro. Like,
Do you do any cooking, Kate?
I used to when I was younger, but I kind of grew out of it. It was a phase of me trying to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a chef. I entered a Chili's Rianos competition. This was when I lived in Tennessee, so they had some of the best food ever at this one farmer's market. They held a Chili Rianos competition. I placed third in that, meaning that
congratulations.
several different restaurants, and they were actually going to do a piece on me in their magazine. But when we got it, it didn't come out. We never received a call from them. And my stepmom actually left a message saying, what happened? He's upset about it, and rightfully so. But looking back at it, I think the autism card truly was pulled on that.
Wow.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel a little horrible, but looking back at it now, there are bigger things to worry about. All right, I gotta go in a bit. My parents are calling me for their morning prayer thing, but I'll end with keep spreading positivity.
Good.
Thank you so much, Kadin. We appreciate having you on. And for those who want to reach out to you or follow your cause, how can they reach you? Any social media pages or websites or anything like that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll share my Facebook quickly. You can follow me on Facebook at Kadin Ronald, KadinRonald.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
great. Thank you so much. We're going to keep going with Oyendia, but Kadin, I hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Take
Yeah.
care.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right. Wow.
Wow.
What an amazing young man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that he's spreading, like, he's just making autism aware, making people aware of, like, because it's like they try to keep it a secret, and keep them hidden. And he's like, no, we're not having that. You know what I'm saying? This is what we doing, and I'm out here, and you're gonna have to check it. I love
Right.
it. I love it. I love it. I
Everybody,
could definitely meet him one day.
yeah, everybody doesn't have that level of courage. And what he said was, and this goes back to the last show we talked about, when we talked about how these young kids or young ladies supposed to know how to carry themselves, right? It comes from that parent, man.
Mhm.
Right.
That is such a key, vital part. And that's just the design. And I keep telling people that family is probably 95% of the social ills that plague our society today. Family is the antidote. Family is the answer. I mean, that's how it was designed. A car functions specifically. You know, you have an engine, you have a transmission. You know, you put gas in it, oil, you start it up, put it in drive, go. It has a process. Well, we're no different. We
Right.
go through that process, and how we come out through that process. How do we used to say it in how we say it in the programs of recovery? Garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Put garbage in, can't expect, you know, fresh food coming out the other side.
Right. I agree. Like he took.
And
Go ahead.
I was
No,
going to say, I agree with you, Tim, with regards to family, but sometimes family can also be a barrier, depending on which family
I
you're
agree.
allocated to, right? Then I've seen people that are stuck in that hamster wheel effect, where it's like, oh, because mom did it, because dad did it, because grandma did it, because this and this, and auntie, uncle. But it's like, who's going to be that courageous hamster, jump out the wheel, because clearly this hamster wheel is not working, right?
Yeah.
I know someone. I know someone who lived with a parent for many years, and a lot of their siblings lived with the parent. But then what happened was the parent passed away, and now everybody's scrambling because they were just so used to living with the parent for many, 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 many years. Now they have to grow up, figure life out, and womp womp womp. It is not working out because they were stuck in that hamster wheel effect.
Yeah. You know, we always had a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say this for our audience. When I talk about family, right? There's a difference between a relative and a family member.
Right.
That's true, right?
You know,
Absolutely.
relatives are connected through marriage or through blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
They may help you, they may not.
Right.
That's just the reality of it. But people who are family, they may or may not be connected through blood or marriage, but they will always do anything that's within their power to help you. You know, when
Mhm.
I was growing up and some adults saw me do something I wasn't supposed to do, they ain't had no problem putting some discipline on me. And when they took me home, my parents was going to thank them and put some more discipline on me. That was the village.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nowadays, it's different.
Right.
Right.
It's they're scared of the children these days. Like they're just insane,
Man,
bro.
I saw a
Like,
video the other day of a kid jumping on a teacher.
yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
that is straight
Times have definitely
ridiculous.
changed, man. Times
Yeah,
have definitely changed.
and it's a direct result of the type of training. Because we
Right.
all land here knowing nothing. We
Right.
learn
Right.
everything after we get here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody somewhere allowed that young person to think it was okay to put their hands on an adult who is in a position of leadership. That is very unfortunate.
Right.
Mhm.
And disrespectful. Like no matter if they're in a role of leadership or not, like putting your hands
That's
on
true.
somebody else is disrespectful. But like you can't. It's like a double-edged sword. You can't blame just the parent because society, the way the society is, um, when drugs hit in the 80s, or and it was bad, and parents were going to jail, and mothers were strung out, and that's the environment that they were in. And it, like yes, he said, it's just a hamster wheel. Like they're repeating everything, and because they went through it, they don't have what our guest just had, like the courage to break that cycle,
Right.
and better, because they are stuck in the woe is me, and this is what my life was, and I don't know anything different. So
But
Right.
it just
Yep.
continues, and the parents are so angry these days that they're like, yeah, beat that kid's ass,
Mhm.
or that
Mhm.
parent's ass, if they disrespect you. And that's the way the world is now because of the past. So I mean, you can
well,
blame
it takes shows
parents.
like
aspects, but to be honest with you, like it was the way society has evolved in these years, man.
Well, I think that our show is a part of the solution.
I hope
To bring, oh, it's without a doubt.
that's
Um,
that's the goal.
um, it is. These are conversations, real conversations
Right.
that we never know who is listening, who's
Exactly.
watching, who's
Right.
who's being fed from this show. I'm working on my course. My 12 principles of to inner peace, and it's really my course is about self-government. That's where we moved away from, and it
Mm,
doesn't take a rocket scientist to teach a kid that telling the truth is the best policy.
right.
Right.
Here's the deal.
Right.
You can't teach a kid to tell the truth when you lie all the time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and Manny, and going back to your point about those types of parents that say, "Oh, if somebody touches you, whip their ass," or blah 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 blah. Okay, if you're watching and you're this type of parent, I want you to think about this. Just think about what I'm going to ask you. First of all, what do you have to prove, or who do you have to prove it to?
Right.
That's the first question.
Exactly.
The second question is, do you not realize the impact, the negative impact or negative effect or consequences that doing that
Right.
would have not only on your child but on you as the parent,
Right.
right? So think about those two questions, because again, we're trying to help people understand that doing all that fighting and negative. I mean, what again? What do you have to prove? I
Nothing.
want to know because right, because at the end of the day, somebody's going to get hurt, somebody's going to file a lawsuit, somebody's going to lose money, somebody might, heaven forbid, end up dead. So, what do you have to prove?
Right.
We've got to go. We've got to do the training. A few years ago, I walked into a Walgreens and a lady was in there, a young lady, and she had a little son, and she was cursing him out, right? And I walked over to
Mhm.
her and I said, "You know what? I don't mean no harm. I know you don't know me, but I would bet my right arm if someone snatched this little boy out of this cart, you would lay your life down to save him. But you're using your mouth to damage him right now."
Right. Right.
Wow, that's deep.
Right.
And she
Right.
started crying. She started crying, and I just kind of walked away. I mean, she was very receptive of what I shared with her, but we see it all the time. This
Right.
that's another
And
show.
it's it's like because a lot of people are like, because I was treated this way, this is the way I'm gonna, this is what I've
Exactly.
learned.
Tradition.
Right. But
Tradition.
at the same time, like, right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? Most people have that feeling of knowing that they're doing something wrong.
Some Rob.
Or or like, why treat somebody like you want to be treated? Like, I know you don't want to be cursed out or hit or, spit on or whatever. Like, teach them something different. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I really
Well,
don't.
there's a alienation. Like, Manny, I walked away from religion, right?
Mhm.
I don't practice religion. I
Right.
don't look. I don't judge
I don't
people who
either.
do,
I don't either.
right? That's a personal choice.
Right.
But
Right.
man, let me tell you something. The alienation
Hmm.
that came from me saying I'm no longer
Right.
subscribed to religion, man, it was
Right.
hard because everybody want to be liked, everybody want to be loved, right?
Right.
And here were people who were in positions of power, family members. Stop talking to me.
Right.
So but here's what I can say is, I did enough research and enough studying to know that what I do share with people, I can stand on it.
Hmm.
Period. You can
Right.
stand me on the front steps of the White House on Monday morning on NBC, and I'll proclaim the 12 principles. They work,
Right. Right.
and they're valid. And so, but to your point, people won't change because they're afraid that they may not be liked.
Right. Yeah. And it's all about
So the
likes and views. I swear.
Barely said it. It's all about likes. You're right. You damn right.
Well, as we're slowly coming to an end, I had an amazing time. I learned a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad that Kadin was able to join us.
Definitely.
You all
Shout out
have
to Kadin and his parents.
Mhm.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brave little
So
man. Brave little man.
it is, yes, and I'm really proud
Definitely.
of what he's doing. Manny, any last minute words for the audience? Where can they actually? What do you have going on first? That's the first question, and then how can they find you? Is the second question.
I have, what do I have coming up? What do I have coming up? I have so many things coming up. Is my mind is going blank. I know I have a book signing on the 25th, and then I have a modeling fashion show in July. A photo shoot. I start a movie the end of June. I'm gonna be a hitman. So I gotta try to build
Right?
my character. But like I
You
always
want one? You want one?
no, I'm not doing Scarface, man. Scarface.
I like you. Hello, Colorado.
Next thing I
Hello
know,
to
I'm
my
gonna
little
find
friend.
Manolo for-
Right.
I think that's my favorite part of him, Scarface. Say hello to my little friend.
Hey, that was college for me.
Right.
I watched Scarface probably about 50 times. And it's a long movie, but
I actually had at one point the VHS, which was a double tape, and
really.
DVD. Yeah, it was a double tape. Like you had to change VHS tapes.
Dang.
Yeah, that's how serious it was.
But you stay busy though, Manny. God,
Yeah,
I don't
man,
know how
I'm
you do it,
trying
brother.
to. I'm definitely trying to. Yeah. So that's what I got going on right now. Y'all could find me at Author Manny Morales on Instagram and Facebook. If you want to book, just DM me. And like I always say, don't let fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success. Always keep pushing, like stay consistent. Because if I hadn't stayed consistent, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Like the doors that have opened for me, just continuing to be consistent, it's amazing. Like every day I doubt, there's always doubt every day. And especially when you don't have a big support system, like it's like, what's the point? What's the use? But it's like something always, the universe or God or whatever you believe in always throws something in your path to say, this is the point. That's why you're doing what you're doing. That right
Absolutely.
there. So,
Gotcha.
That's awesome. Tim Talkman, aka
Well-
Talkman Squad.
AKA the old
Well-
guy.
Yeah, right. I'm actually shooting a video tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah,
Music
well, it's just a training. It's actually on the Kingdom message, and we'll talk more about that later. But
Okay.
I'm doing a video on the Kingdom message tomorrow. Then I got approached by the county that I live. Well, one of the counties that's not too far from me. They want me to do a workshop for ex-offenders, who are fathers who are coming back into
Okay.
society and how they move forward from where they are. So I'm pretty excited about that. Still working on my course. I'm looking to maybe launch my course. It's an 8-week course. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I'm looking to launch that within the next 60, 90 days. So that
Okay.
keeps me pretty busy. This show is one of the outlets for me. I just get to come here and just think about where we are in this space. I can put everything else to the side.
Right.
So this show is like therapy for me. No, seriously, I mean, because my brain sometimes it feels like it's in a vice grip.
Right.
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 And so I can be found at, you Google me, Talk Man Talk, no spaces. I'll come up. My site is, pretty loaded. You can find everything about me. And the last thing, now I like how you always end with that positive note, man. And I,
Hmm.
what I want to say is, it all starts with purpose.
Right.
Until we discover our purpose, right? Purpose is so powerful. It's the reason, the original intent for our creation.
Right.
And without understanding our purpose, you won't have a vision. And without vision, you won't have any discipline.
Hmm.
So until we discover our purpose, we'll always be somebody else.
Yep.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
All right. Yes, your turn.
My turn. Yes. Well,
Oh, we're
first I
gonna
want to
be here for a while.
Yeah.
You see her schedule? Did you, man? I was listening. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Her schedule.
wait. No, I'm going to give a high level overview,
Okay.
a Cliff Notes version.
All right. There you go.
You know, working on film projects. I am offering acting private classes, virtual classes.
Cool.
So for those interested in coaching, when I want coaching, I am working on getting a group session together. So stay tuned for that day coming in the near future.
Okay.
I'm traveling with G. Davis Productions and the National Alzheimer's Association. So our production, Unforgettable, is coming to a theater near you. So stay tuned because our next stop is going to be Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're going to be hitting St. Louis. We're going to be hitting Pittsburgh. We're going to be hitting a lot of places. So go under the Unforgettable ALZ.org website for more information on that. Working on, I have a couple of shorts and long features I'm writing, so that's coming in the far future.
Right.
I do photography as well, so it's prom season, it's wedding season, it is graduation season. So if you want to book Life Memoirs Photography, hit me up. You can reach Life Memoirs Photography on Facebook as well. Doing Oyandia TV. So if you have a topic that you want to talk to us about, we're glad to have you. Just email Oyandia TV. You can either reach out to me, to Manny, or to Tim. We'll be glad to coordinate schedules with you and have you on to share your topic that you want to talk about, and we can take it from there. And like Tim says, Google me because I do have a lot going on. That's just the icing to the cake. Yessie Rodriguez. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google, your favorite browser. I'm available in all different browsers,
Right.
which is great. But nevertheless, we want to thank you, the viewers. Shout out to the sponsors as well. So we have Talkman Talk Radio, or I said radio, Talkman Talk.
Hey,
Public
that's an idea. Talk Man Talk Radio. Look at that.
Yeah.
It is Talkman Talk Radio.
Who put you on the radio?
Right.
Manny Morales, Collective Wear, Divine Beauty and Accessories, Myra Enterprises, and you all for your viewing support. And as a reminder, we here at Oyandia TV aim to positively motivate, enlighten, educate, and entertain you, the viewer, with each episode. And we really hope that today's episode, as well as the past ones that we've had, have really helped with that as well. So thank you all for your viewing support. And like I always say, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. Talk to you soon.
Adios.
Peace.
Bendiciones. Bendiciones. Adios. Bam.